Welcome, everyone. I'm Sue Barber, author, former IT director for a Fortune 500 company, turned executive coach, and this is the Visibility Factor podcast, where we explore how to raise your visibility and play bigger at work and in life. We'll explore key topics and welcome guests that help you shift your thinking about yourself so you can see new possibilities for your leadership. I'm on a mission to create a visibility movement for leaders to show their value and be seen for their true talent. Are you ready to take the next step towards a higher level of visibility for yourself? Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Visibility Factor podcast. This is Sue Barber, your host. Today, we're going to talk about imposter syndrome, but in a way that might feel a little bit different than what you've heard before, because not all imposter syndrome looks like fear. Sometimes it looks like playing small in very subtle ways. So let's dive in to some of the different ways that this can show up. For many high-performing leaders, it doesn't mean that you're not getting results. I was achieving results. I would, by all accounts, have looked like I was doing all the right things. You're successful, you're capable, you're trusted. But internally, it shows up as downplaying your work, holding back your perspective, and waiting until you're completely sure to say something, to finish something, or to share your opinion. You're often telling yourself, I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing what I need to do. And so that is where the challenge is. You can look amazing and everyone's giving you positive feedback and telling you how great you are. But if you don't believe it internally, you will hold yourself back and play small. So sometimes when I'm working with a client, I'll ask them to tell me what happens in their head. Like, what is the messaging that you're getting when you're in this situation and someone asks you a question or someone asks you to present something? What happens for you? And immediately, right, there's a message that's happening in their head to them, maybe multiple. It may be all of the things that I just mentioned. So something is inside of them telling them it's not safe. It's not safe to speak up. They need to wait and make sure it's perfect because no one wants to be judged or criticized. They could have had a past situation where they spoke up and somebody made a comment that wasn't kind. And so now they've got a little bit of trauma around it, and it makes sense why they would hold themselves back. If you're a leader, you need to create a safe space for people to be able to share ideas and talk, and recognize that if you have a lot of people who are holding themselves back and you know that they have good ideas, that could be an opportunity area to see if you can create a safer space. And then also to have a conversation to understand what is holding them back. What messages are they hearing in their head that might be keeping them small? There's always a moment of awareness. Something happens. Either a conversation is held with you like I had. I was told I wasn't being visible, or you start to recognize that other things are happening and you just didn't notice before. So you might be in a meeting and you have this great thought, but for whatever reason, you talk yourself out of sharing it. And then a couple minutes later, you hear someone else say it and you see everybody moving in their chairs, nodding and being all excited about this new idea. And you actually had it first. That's an eye-opening moment, isn't it? Where you recognize that they just said it, because it's not about your capability. You have all of that. You have so much knowledge and you're so smart. It's just whether or not you're showing how you think about things to other people. And if you're not showing that and talking about the things that you want to share, then nobody knows. And you can probably look around the room and see that there's other people who might be holding themselves back and not sharing. And you know that they have great ideas too. In the next meeting that you're in, if you have a question that comes up, if you have some insight, what is the harm of sharing it? And there might be some fear around that, like I mentioned. But what's the worst thing that could happen because you've brought it up? They might say, oh, we've already thought of that. We don't think that's going to work right now. It's okay, right? Don't take it personally. This isn't about you. It's about the business and what can you do to move the business forward. That's how I'd like you to look at it, because if you make it about you, you will not speak up. You will keep yourself small and you'll sabotage any opportunities that you have because of fear. I know how powerful fear is. I definitely lived through that. But if you can just try one conversation, one opportunity to ask a question, one comment, I think you'll start to find it becomes way easier than you think. What is the shift that happens then that changes things? It's not just time. It's not just experience. It's moments of action. And I want you to think about every moment that you have that's available to you. Are you taking advantage of it, or are you letting it be a missed opportunity? Now, in some cases, you might speak before you've overthought it. I definitely had those moments where I kind of winged it a little bit and I just said something and it didn't come out as strategic as I may have liked it. You might be starting to trust your perspective more and recognize that you bring a lot of value and that what you do say, even if it's not perfect, is great. Or you might take a risk and volunteer to be on something that is not figured out. Those are moments that you start to have this awareness of, wow, the thing that I thought was going to happen didn't actually happen. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that scary. So think about people who climb up a mountain or skydive or something, right? It's the moments before that are really the most frightening because they haven't done it yet. And then once they do it, they realize it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that scary for them. And you have to mentally prepare for that because that moment up front is your brain trying to keep you safe. So each of these moments that you have builds evidence for you. It starts to tell you that you're capable. It starts to tell you that you know way more than you think and that you can trust yourself. The next one is what sits underneath imposter syndrome for many leaders is self-trust. So not trusting your thinking, not trusting your voice. You might be overcompensating by preparing too much or staying quiet. But I promise, and I've seen this in myself and in so many of my clients, when the self-trust starts to grow, it changes you. Your confidence grows. You're willing to speak up because now you recognize the value that you bring. And I think sometimes we're just in comparison mode and worried about what other people are doing or what they're thinking. I promise you, most of the time they're thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. Realize that you have a lot to offer and what you have to say is important and it matters. Start speaking up. Just try it. Ask one question. So if this resonates with you, here's something to think about. What if the shift you need to make isn't about becoming more, speaking up more, talking a lot more? It's about recognizing what you already have and what's true. Your uniqueness, your strengths, the experiences that you've had, the things that you've done that were successful, the achievements that you've had, your values, all the things that make you you and make you very unique compared to anyone else. What if you could leverage those things and take them and use them in bigger ways? And if you're willing to show up from that place, your self-trust grows, your confidence grows, and you're willing to show up because now you have much more confidence and trust in who you are and what you bring. And that's where the gap is for a lot of people. They struggle with understanding themselves as leaders. And it's not something that I believe is taught in a lot of organizations. Think about the fact that many times we don't always prepare to be leaders. We don't understand all the things that we might need to do. In most cases, we're looking and comparing ourselves to other people and we're trying to emulate them. What if the real gift and the real strength that you have is to stand on your own, to trust yourself, to recognize that what you have to offer is important? Your voice matters. The things that you bring are really amazing and unique to only you. And that might be your experiences, your values, the things that you've done in other places, your achievements. The things that make you you are the things that are going to help you stand out. So instead of comparing yourself to other people, what if the shift isn't becoming more and speaking a ton more? What if it's only about recognizing what you have to offer and sharing those insights from that place? Sharing the insights from your strengths and the things that you know to be true or the things that you can see that maybe nobody else can see. What if you can be recognized from that place instead? Not everybody's doing that, right? They're so worried about what everyone else is doing and they're trying to be like everyone else. If you notice people who are moving up the ladder, they have chosen to stand up for something, have challenged others, have done well in a crisis. I know that every day there are problems to solve, gaps to fill, opportunities that people are not taking advantage of, and you're sitting in meetings and you're not speaking up. So if you could start to do something that helps you really build your confidence around the things that you have to offer, you're going to go a lot further, a lot faster, and people are going to start to see you in a whole new way, just as much as you start to see yourself in that way too. If you know someone who would benefit from this, someone who's playing small in your world, I hope you'll share this episode with them. If you love this episode, I would really be so appreciative if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to the podcast. Put down something that you loved about a certain episode or something that you loved about the podcast and what it taught you, because we're helping other people find the podcast that way. Thanks so much for joining today on the Visibility Factor podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for listening to the Visibility Factor podcast. Remember that visibility starts with small steps that are intentional and consistent each day. Be bold, be visible, be the leader you were meant to be. Find us and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, which are highlighted in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Visibility Factor podcast.